Greetings, fellow nerds. I, Motor City Games, am back here with my Runeslingers The Awakening trading card game 2-player starter set, Fire and Chaos. Motor City Games Untapped review. No punches pulled, honest look at Runeslingers trading card game. My wife and I played this. It took us a very long time because we had to figure it out as we went. There is this nice full-color rule book. Well, it's 10 pages, which we constantly had to keep going back to look at, to try to find what to do in certain situations. I don't know if it was just the proofreading or if the person who wrote this, because I believe this is a Canadian game, maybe they speak French as their first language, I'm not sure, but some of the way the syntax and grammar was a little wonky. Each player does get one of these turn order things, which were great to have. We each constantly kept referring to this. It says 30 minutes. It did take us, I want to say, at least an hour or so. We watched a couple videos online before trying this, and we still struggled through it. But once it got going, we actually did have fun. Some of the rules we just kind of had to make up as we went or interpret the best we could. So just to give you a real quick look at the playmat here, we each had one of these playmats, and they're very nice quality. Let's just keep you right here. And it's an easy setup, and you definitely need patience your first few times playing as you get the swing of things. These are the two decks. With our first one is Ava, the Fire Runeslinger here, and this is, my wife played that one and I played Roman, this Striker Runeslinger. Now there's a separate Runeslinger on the back. Unbeknownst to us, we just opened the packs and set them up and played. But so the first thing you do, I'll just use the Roman pack since that's the one that I played with. Easy setup. You put your Runeslinger here. You put your stance here, which again, there's different ones on the back, but I just used the basic one because it was the easiest to follow along with. And your ability here, which is, that number is actually your life. The little green thing is a special ability you can activate. So you set that up like that. You shuffle your deck, which I think it's probably still, I'm not sure if it's shuffled or not, but whatever. But you shuffle your deck, you draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Each player does this at the same time. And each player starts at level 5, so you put a die on the 5. And a la Magic, which I'm going to keep referring to because I've played it for 29 years and a lot of people understand it. But this, there are some similarities to Magic, of course. Almost any game's going to have them, but this is quite different. So you draw your 5 cards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then each player takes a card, and it can be one that you want to play later in the game. So I'll just take this one here, and you start with it in your concentration row, basically. Basically, it's like your mana from Magic, and then you roll a die to see who goes first. Whoever wins the die roll can decide to go first or second. If you go first, you only draw 1 card. If you go second, you draw 2. So I'll go, say I go first, and then I got my cards. I drew a battle axe. Now I have 1 light is the resource in this game. You can see the star there with the light. And so I currently have 1 light, so I can play something like that. But if I want to have 2, I can take any card, put it down. So now I have 2 light resources, and you tap them, and I can now play this card, Dominate, to deal 10 direct damage to target Runeslinger, and if Dominate hits them, they void 1, which means the top card of their deck, which I should, sorry, my deck's supposed to say there, they would just take it and void it. For every 5 points of damage. So I could put that down. Now distract, as you see there, which is an interesting mechanic, it means that if once I play that, I lose this to my discard pile and the card underneath it, which is kind of interesting. So then they take their turn, etc., etc., and then it comes back, draw 2 cards. I can choose to skip my play phase, I think they call it, and if I do, I can draw a 3rd card, which this is quite a unique element, which I enjoy, or I can take this back into my hand. So I skip being able to play things, but I can kind of prepare. So I could put a high-cost rune spell there, and as I build up other things throughout the game, blah, 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 get more concentration, I can get it back, and then bam, ready to hit with it. So, which that is kind of a cool thing to do. But one of the most unique elements, and I think the one that Runeslingers is known for, like, for example, this here. So, Taunt. And I like that, if I can clear there, a lot of these cards are choice cards. So you have multiple options, depending on which you choose, of course. So, and you see, like, it loses all block because that number there is your block number for attacks, which, interestingly enough, you discard a card to block, which I think is a cool mechanic. Except if you don't have any cards, I think that's kind of silly, because say I have light resources here, or concentration, whatever they call them, why can't I just use a resource to be able to block? But that's how the game works. So we didn't really do too much blocking because we had to keep looking that up, and we went YouTube and Google and thumb through this thing here about 1,000 times, each of us, and I can't find anything. What about you? Can you find? Well, it says this. Oh, I don't know. Any, if, other, blah, blah, blah. So that was a little bone of contention. So, but there we go. Anyway, sorry. The apply 2 weaken ailments to target Runeslinger. So that's when you bring out these bad boys. These are the ailments which you want to keep. So here you can see weaken ailments, which is pretty cool. So I would play this out, and when a new weaken ailment is applied, you void 1. So 2 weaken ailments, void 2. So this would go on my opponent's side, is how we played it. I'm not sure if that's right. I believe so, because I'm weakening her. But say they did it to me, it would go here. And if it's applying multiples, you got to use a lot of these dang dice. There we go. So now I have this affecting me. And once it gets higher levels, and level 2 is 4, it affects me even more, which is pretty cool. And you have burn, curse, insanity, debilitate. And yeah, so that was kind of neat once we figured that out. And you have an ailment phase each turn. We didn't really use the ailments all that much because we were having trouble understanding when they take effect. Do they take effect right when you cast them? Do they wait till the next turn to take effect? So we just started doing it right when you cast them. One of the things that I think is the coolest part about this game is that you can lose 3 different ways. You start at level 5, 20 life, health, hit points, whatever. When this gets down to 0, this will drop you down. You're now at level 4. Your health goes all the way back, if I can find the darn thing, up to 20. And you get one of these green guys, which, forgot, determination. Yes, lots of terms to remember. So you are losing, but you're getting resources to be used for late in the game, which is kind of neat. Also, if you draw all your cards out of your deck, you drop another level, but you don't lose the game. So I like that, and you get another determination. Also, if you get 8 ailments all added up on your ailment phase, you would lose them, and you drop another level. So you could theoretically, and this happened in the game, have your opponent low on health, low on cards, and say they got 8 ailments, and all of a sudden, you make them draw a card, they attack them, more ailments, whatever, and then bam, bam, bam. They lose 2 or 3 levels at once. That happened, I think, my wife at the very end. I think I hit her for 2, I'm not sure. But you could say they're at 3, you're going to hit them for 13 damage. All right, they drop down a level, they get a determination. Well, the overflow is going to strike, they don't start back at 20 then, they're going to be back to 10, because that overflow damage, a la trample or whatever, here I think they call it pierce, if you hit a rune or a defense item, the overflow will go to them. So that's just kind of the nitty-gritty of the game. There's cards you can play on these to stop them and stuff like that, which again, that wasn't terribly clear as we were playing. You have to really pay attention, of course, but this little here, like this says boon, that can only go on, if you can even see it, on the ailments, these boon, these defense cards, instead of putting them on your there and using them to attack and stuff. But I'd say once we were about 3/4 of the way through the game and it started flowing better, we actually enjoyed it. I just have to see if I convince the wife to play again now that we kind of figured it out. And maybe we'll switch decks. I know she did look at some of the other characters, Runeslingers, excuse me, and say, oh, I want to play again, but I want to use X, like this other person, because they look cool. The set does come with the 2 decks, and then some ailments, and then you have, for the other characters, you have different abilities and stuff that you can use instead. So you can change it up, which is kind of neat, because some of them, the cards are kind of locked, if you will. This is a Rune Seer Runeslinger, so there's some spells that, or runes, whatever you want to call them here, Rune Seer Spirit, that only can be used by a Rune Seer Runeslinger. A lot of rune. So anyway, that is the game in a nutshell. And, you know, I would have to say, right now, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5, maybe a 2.5 out of 5. Yeah, I'm going to say 2.5 out of 5 stars. The art's great. The cards are high quality. It's just the rule book, we didn't find it to be very clear. And for a rule book that's only 10 pages and a big amount of it is just telling you what the parts of the card are, which, I mean, that's a whole page telling you the anatomy of your Runeslinger and your cards. And then they reprint the turn phases on the last page, which then they give you 2 more of those. And, you know, they could have used that space to be a little clearer, like the damage versus health loss, or like, wait, are you losing life? So can you block that? Or is it damage? You know, so the fact that it wasn't very clear, to me, knocks it down a peg. And my wife was at the point where she was giving me the look, and I was understanding, like, we're not having fun with this right now. And we decided that, you know, we're going to watch some videos, because we tried to just wing it like brand new people. And that would have ended with the game being boxed up and put away forever. That could have led to an argument. So we watched 2 YouTube videos to see how to play, and neither one was that great or interesting. But we got enough from those to start playing and kind of figuring it out as we went. And we watched the video on the website too, for the Runeslingers trading card game website, which was the best one of all, which we probably should have started with. But again, we wanted to start this fresh. Yeah, you can go to runeslingers.com there. We wanted to start fresh, like 2 people who never picked it up before and had no idea to play, and that was not a good idea, because we would have probably, again, packed it away or given it away to someone else or to the local game store or something, because it would have just been not fun. But once we figured it out as best we could, and again, it started going quickly, and we're kind of figuring out the back and forth, then it was more enjoyable. But I want to say it took an hour to an hour and a half to play one game, trying to figure it all out. And that's why I'm going to give it you know, 2.5 stars out of 3. It's the kind of game that you need somebody who knows how to play really well to sit and show you and explain every single piece of it, and that cannot be very fun sometimes. So we'll give it another try, but right now we're going to stick with the one time, and so we're going to say again 2.5 stars out of 5. I don't know, I don't have any stars to throw down or anything, because that would actually been pretty cool. So anyway, that is my Untapped review of Runeslingers The Awakening trading card game. I say give it a try if you're big into card games, and you'll enjoy it as you kind of muddle through. And maybe as the game goes on and more sets come out, they'll make it a little more clear to understand. And I just want also to be upfront that I was not given any of this. I purchased all these things myself from the runeslingers.com website, and they wonderfully allow me to have the Motor City Games as the 10% off code if you do go to their site and want to try it out yourself. You can get a deal on the 2-player starter set with 2 of the mats, which if you're going to try it, definitely do that so that you save some money, because if you don't enjoy it, you're going to be stuck. And I don't ever want that to happen to anybody. So anyway, thank you for watching this long-winded video. I apologize for going on, but I hope that y'all have a great day. Thanks.